On to a gravitas special. The Philippines is raising fresh concerns over China's activities in the disputed South China Sea. This comes after its coast guards discovered a floating structure inside the Scarborough Shoal. Manila, in fact, saying it is now urging Beijing to remove the platform immediately. The Philippines has warned China that it will not allow the strategic atoll to be transformed into a man-made island. The diplomatic row now escalated after the Philippines lodged a formal protest with China. The Philippine Coast Guard officials said the structure appears to be a movable platform and has been deployed by the Chinese research vessels operating in the area. And China has neither confirmed nor denied responsibility for the structure. However, China has reiterated that its indisputable sovereignty over the shoal and China maintaining that its activities there are legitimate and only for scientific purpose. And this development is extremely important because the shoal has been a long-standing dispute point between the two nations. In fact, the triangular reef is surrounded by rich fishing grounds. It lies about 200 kilometers off the Philippine island of Luzon, and China has maintained de facto control of the shoal since 2012. Chinese Coast Guard vessels have maintained a constant presence around the shoal. They have repeatedly been accused of restricting access for the Filipino fishermen operating from nearby Luzon. Last year, China has also announced the creation of a national nature reserve at the shoal. The Philippine officials then warned it was an eventual occupation of the area. And with the appearance of this new floating platform that can spark further escalation, the shoal itself, in fact, holding significant strategic value. After all, it sits close to major shipping lanes. It contains abundant fish stocks, features a turquoise lagoon that offers shelter to vessels during storms. So that's how significant these developments are. Meanwhile, the diplomatic efforts to try and ease the tensions continue. And the ASEAN is still negotiating with China, remember, on a long-awaited code of conduct for the South China Sea. But with no agreement yet in sight, the discovery of this new structure is likely to add fresh urgency to those talks. Meanwhile, the skies around Taiwan continue to be a stage for a high-stakes intelligence game. As the tensions simmer across the Taiwan Strait, mainland Chinese maritime authorities saying they detected 2 fixed-wing aircraft southeast of Taiwan, while a Chinese maritime task force was conducting patrols in the area. And according to the Chinese military experts, the aircraft appeared to belong to the Japan Coast Guard. Those experts claim the planes were medium or small-sized crude electronic reconnaissance aircraft designed for surveillance and intelligence collection, and they claim the aircraft was sent to monitor the activities of the Chinese vessels. In fact, the experts also claiming the aircraft could have been equipped with optical or electro-optical sensor systems. This alleged sighting coming as Taiwan's military carried out exercises simulating the destruction of an invading Chinese force. Troops fired rockets and artillery in a drill designed to repel an amphibious assault under what Taipei described as a more realistic combat scenario. Take a look. China continues to view Taiwan as its territory, remember, and has never ruled out the use of force to bring the island under its control. Chinese warships and warplanes operate around Taiwan almost daily, and this is far from the first spying accusation, of course. Earlier this week itself, China accused Japan of repeatedly monitoring the training activities of a PLA aircraft carrier task group in the Western Pacific. China's defense ministry spokesman criticized Tokyo for publicly disclosing details of the carrier group's movements and operations. Japan's defense chief reportedly said Tokyo will continue to closely monitor the Chinese task group. So that's where things have reached. And the tensions between Tokyo and Beijing also have been at the highest since World War II, in fact. According to Japanese media, Tokyo's new defense document will name China as the biggest concern. And the tit-for-tat surveillance battle has been escalating and also building up. Last November itself, Japan, remember, scrambled aircraft after detecting a suspected Chinese drone near one of its islands located close to Taiwan. In August 2024, Tokyo also scrambled jets after a Chinese reconnaissance aircraft, according to Japan, briefly entered Japanese airspace. So the message is perhaps clear. In the contest for information, both sides keeping a close watch. One part of the Atlantic is cooling, the rest of the planet keeps breaking heat records. It's quite a contrast. And scientists now watching two powerful forces at once, a giant cold patch in the ocean and the return of El Nino. Scientists are warning the planet may be entering a more violent, unstable era. Our next report telling you more.
At first glance, it looks impossible. The world is heating up. Yet in one corner of the North Atlantic, a patch of unusually cold water refuses to warm. Scientists call it the cold blob, and some fear it may be warning that one of Earth's most important climate engines is slowing down. Beneath the Atlantic, a vast system of ocean currents is constantly moving heat around the planet. Warm water travels north near the surface. Cold, denser water sinks and flows south deep below. The heat transported by the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation directly influences global rainfall patterns, sea levels, and the intensity of monsoons in regions like India. But scientists say melting ice and increasing freshwater entering the ocean is weakening this circulation. This means less movement of heat. One possible result is colder water collecting in parts of the North Atlantic, even while global temperatures continue rising. That is where the cold blob appears. Oceans are a critical indicator of planet's health.
Cet été 2024 a été
The oceans, for example, currently absorb 90% of the excess heat from the atmosphere. In other words, when we say that the Earth's average temperature is rising as a result of climate change, a major part of this temperature rise is in fact absorbed by the warming oceans. So monitoring ocean temperature is bound to be of great interest in tracking climate change.
Les records restent.
Now add another force, El Nino. El Nino occurs when Pacific waters warm, altering winds and weather worldwide. It can bring hotter temperatures, heat waves, drought, and heavy rain. In South Asia, it may weaken monsoons and disrupt rainfall as the world faces record heat and warmer oceans. The collision of a failing Atlantic current and a hyperactive Pacific El Nino means the buffers are gone. Earth's climate system is no longer just warming, it is destabilizing.
Do you prefer to walk clockwise or anti-clockwise? That might sound like a strange question, and perhaps you've not even paid attention to this. According to scientists, though, humans prefer to walk anti-clockwise, with tests reportedly finding that while walking around at a leisurely pace, there is a natural tendency that people have to turn to the left and walk in an anti-clockwise direction, reportedly. A left turn bias, basically. And the scientists reportedly conducted a series of experiments involving individuals or small crowds roaming around enclosed spaces. What was the result? The researchers found time and again that tendency to walk in an anti-clockwise direction. And if you're wondering why that is, it's an open question reportedly with no clear answer as such as of now. Interestingly, humans are not the only species reportedly with this tendency. Researchers in Bristol reportedly have shown that rock ants also share this tendency. And this is when exploring unknownness. And why is all this significant? For multiple reasons, apart from just better understanding of human behavior and tendencies, also understanding this tendency could reportedly help make crowd and evacuation simulations more realistic and practical. It could also help in designing the areas that we move through every day.